Connecticut pride, Vermont's green hills, take it all in stride. Massachusetts traffic, we grip and we grind with a Dunkin' iced coffee and no peace of mind. So New England, stand up proud. Chowder thick, we shout it loud. From Fenway Chance to Rhode Island Tide, New Hampshire's Clyde, live free or die. So New England, with Ian Brownhill.
Good friggin' morning from New England, folks, and welcome back to episode 55 of the So New England podcast. I am your host, Ian Brownhill, joined by my co-host, Robert Travisano. All things life's better in New England. So New England podcast producer, Vinny G, behind the camera. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we go out of our way. We try our best, and we have a wonderful, wonderful guest from the beautiful New England community for you today. So, RJ, why don't you tell us who we have?
You got it, boss. Bear with me today because it's a food episode, and you know how your boy gets, and I'm already hurting and salivating because of this research I have done. Chance, get the mop, baby. Another episode and another amazing New Englander. Our guest today is originally a Mass native, but here to show some Maine love. And let me promise you, she has come with receipts. Whether you want ideas for the kitchen or just want to understand a staple in American cuisine, the chicken, she's got you covered. With one cookbook down and another one in the works, coming soon, she has been on Martha.com, The Kitchen, and Food and Wine. Whether it's cooking or baking, our guest today knows her way around the kitchen. And if you don't believe me, check out her over 100,000 followers between YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, and good old Facebook. We have yet another amazing New Englander, so it's with my greatest pleasure of all time to welcome baker, cook, and chicken expert, Fresh Eggs Daily, a.k.a. Lisa Steele.
Lisa, thank you so much again for taking time out of your day to come on the So New England podcast and talk about yourself and your cookbooks and just all of the wonderful things that you are doing for us here in New England. I have to preface this episode by letting you know that I am one of the worst cooks, but I eat 3 eggs every single day. So I am big on the egg and chicken train. So I might have some personal questions for
Love
you.
it.
But the easiest way to get this going is I would love for you to kind of introduce yourself to the audience and let them know what you're all about.
Yeah. So I was born very long time ago in Massachusetts, grew up in Central Mass, across the street from my grandparents' chicken farm, believe it or not. They were legit chicken farmers. So did not want that life, went off to college. I went to Bryant College in Rhode Island.
Nice.
Now Bryant University. Yay. And then I went to work on Wall Street and did that for a while. And then long story short, met my husband. He was in the Navy, so we bounced around a little bit, Pensacola, Norfolk. We had enough of the South after about 10 years. You know, don't want to badmouth any part of the country, but living in the South is horrible. So hot, so humid. It's awful. So we left. He retired and moved to Maine. He had gone to Maine Maritime, and Massachusetts is just too crowded and expensive right now. So we moved to Maine. We've been here about 10 years and absolutely love it. And somewhere along the line, I started raising chickens. Then writing books about them. So.
I love it.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. So take us down the rabbit hole of how, because you said that you lived across the street from your grandmother who was a chicken farmer. So you already had some experience when you got into this world, right?
Yeah, I did. And so, my husband was in the Navy. So when you live like in a military area, there's really no jobs unless you're in the Navy or in the military or like a nurse or something, right?
Okay.
So I was bored at home, and it was 2009, recession. Everybody was kind of like, like during COVID, making sourdough bread. They were raising chickens, doing the whole thing. So we decided that kind of like on a whim. I was like, well, I had them as a kid, did the whole 4-H thing, didn't really love chickens. But I really love animals. And I figured, well, we could start this little farm and then get more animals and it would be great. And I wouldn't ever have to go back to work again. So I did that. And, Facebook was just starting out. And I realized I knew because I grew up around them. So people were asking me questions about them. And I started Fresh Eggs Daily, just kind of like, picked a name out of the air. I was posting chicken pictures on my personal page, and my friends were like, come on, we don't want to see any more pictures of your chickens. So I started Fresh Egg Daily, it literally just blew up. I mean, it was just the right time, right place, right message. I have almost 700,000 followers over there, which I don't even think anyone's even on there anymore. But supposedly that's what the numbers say. 5 people comment on any given post. But yeah, and I started doing that, and then I got a book deal, and then I started writing books, and I wrote like a book a year for the next 7-8 years, something like that, which was really crazy. Moved to the other platforms, started doing YouTube, and it became like a thing, So then COVID came, and I think like everybody else, I kind of like this is the end of the world, and I really do not want on my headstone crazy chicken lady. I've got to do something else, right? Before the world ends. So I was thinking about it. I was like, well, this is like the end of everything. What do I want to do? I really wanted to write a cookbook. So I hired an agent, and we put together a proposal, and we shopped it out, and HarperCollins gave me a cookbook deal, which was like insane because I didn't even have a food blog. Like my whole blog was about chickens, right? But they gave me a book deal, and people bought it and loved it. And then they gave me another deal, which, my second cookbook comes out next May. And I just love it. Like if one more person emails me and asks me how to get started with backyard chickens, like I'm just going to stick a fork in my eye. It's like Groundhog Day. It's like the same thing for 15 years.
Yeah,
It was just always new people and the same questions. Oh, and especially when COVID came and everyone who didn't have chickens now got chickens. It's like I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. So I just kind of like leaped into the culinary world, and I was on NPR, and it was just amazing, like how welcoming everybody was, and how much I realized like my passion is really not the chickens, it's the eggs. Like eggs are so fascinating. There's so much you can do with them, and also I love to eat them.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So that's my story.
I love that.
great.
That's incredible.
That's my story.
A very good, incredible, like a very
so
like
cool.
broad. The fact that you went to Bryant and then you ended up on Wall Street and then you didn't want to raise chickens and then you became a chicken farmer and now you're tired of that, but you need to use eggs daily, pun intended. It's just a very fascinating story. I love hearing that. And I'm really curious about how that has kind of intertwined into like the New England culture, like the farming and stuff, because when people think of New England, I feel like a lot of people don't immediately think of farming, but the reality is outside of Boston and maybe a few of like the major cities, like, maybe Portland, and you have some other, like we're in Providence now. There is quite a lot of land and there is quite a lot of farming that occurs over here. So I'm curious if you could just kind of talk about the agriculture that New England has to offer as well as like the farmland and what that experience is like. 'Cause you got 4 seasons here, it's not like it's a unique thing.
No, that's true. And I think the last commercial chicken barn in Maine closed like in the 80s or whatever. But when you drive around, there are these 2-story old wooden structures, which is like what my grandparents had. And they're chicken barns because people didn't put cows like on the second floor of a barn. Like, so if you see like a multi-story barn, it was chickens, right? A lot of them are like the antique stores now. Whatever. But agriculture, not only, animals, but like also potatoes. Northern Maine makes, I think grows all the potatoes for like Frito-Lay or something like that, so it's a short season, but stuff grows really, really fast. You've got like 100 days, but if you really get moving, because the days are so much longer, in the summer, it was funny because when we were moving to Maine, I was telling people because we were in Virginia and we had the chickens and we were moving to Maine and people were really worried that I wasn't going to bring the chickens with me because I was, their source for information. And animals do so much better in the cold. The heat is really hard on all animals. They have trouble staying cool, and whether they pant or sweat or whatever, the cold is so much easier on them. So the chickens are just thrilled that we're not in Virginia anymore because it's really hot there.
Today's episode is sponsored by New England Lean Consulting.
Mark your calendars, folks, for October 1st and 2nd. It's the 2nd annual Lean Summit.
2 days packed with learning, collaboration, and fun, featuring 18 interactive workshops, renowned authors, speakers, and your favorite leanfluencers.
This event offers an abundance of networking opportunities that you aren't going to want to miss.
So register now and join the movement at newenglandleanconsulting.com. So how many chickens do you currently keep yourself?
We have 8 chickens 10 ducks and 2 geese. We've had like up to 3 dozen chickens, but it's really hard to keep track of all their names, and it's a lot. It's stressful. And plus the eggs, you can't sell eggs here because like our mail lady's daughter has chickens and our UPS driver has chickens and 3 of our neighbor, like you can't even give them away. Right. So if you have 3 dozen chickens and you're getting basically like 3 dozen eggs a day, it just gets very overwhelming.
Oh, that sounds like for me, I eat, like I said, 3 eggs every single day, sometimes 4, because I'll have another egg with my steak for lunch. So I'm almost at 4 eggs like every day. So that sounds really nice because I eat, you know what? Let me backtrack here because I wanted to ask you this. I need a breakdown and a lesson in eggs. Because one of the most fascinating things to me about the United States food system is the fact that they can willingly say to you, here's these eggs here, but here's an organic egg, but then here's a pasture-raised egg, but then here's an organic pasture-raised. And I'm like, it's very confusing. I find it very alarming that they, in my opinion, are kind of just basically saying to you upright, like, hey, these hens and these chickens are just not raised as good as these ones over here. I'm like, how can you legally do that? But what is truly the difference? Like, explain to like the difference of what this actually means in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's a really good question because egg cartons basically are billboards. There's everything on them from local to farm fresh to no antibiotics, no hormones, whatever. Basically, it's all meaningless. I mean, all eggs are natural. They can't be fed hormones or antibiotics. The things that really matter, pasture raised means that they actually are out on grass. They're happy. If you care about like what kind of life the chicken has, then pasture raised is the gold standard. Cage free, which all these states are trying to, I think Massachusetts is one of them, California, they're trying to switch to cage free, which really is no better. It's like the same warehouse that the chickens are in the little tiny cages that we've all seen the pictures of, right?
Yeah.
They just take those cages away. And then all the chickens are just like roaming around this huge warehouse. They might never go outside. Like they're picking at each other. They're stepping on each other. They're just laying their eggs wherever. Like chickens are mean. They should be in cages for their own good. like I'm not an advocate of
Sounds like
cage chickens. But if you had like between cage free and cage, the mortality rate is actually lower with caged chickens, and each one is getting, their own food and their water. Like it's actually a safer environment. So cage free is terrible and nobody should be pushing for that. They should push for pasture raised. And then like organic, yes, if you care about eating organic food, then, you can pick organic eggs. But realistically, if you buy from like your farmer's market or your neighbor, their chickens are probably out in their yard eating bugs and flowers and grass and stuff. And they're going to be better than anything you get at the store anyway. So.
Interesting. Now, and the storage of eggs that you get fresh, very different, right? You can keep yours just out on the counter. You don't have to put them in the refrigeration systems or anything like that. Is there a process that goes through these other eggs that forces them to be refrigerated, or what is that process versus like just natural?
Yeah, basically the United States has this weird idea about food in a lot of different aspects. But with eggs, in Europe and a lot of parts of the world, they don't have to be refrigerated because they don't wash them. In the United States, to sell eggs commercially, you have to wash them. And that is really a shame because what it does, before the hen lays the egg, she applies like an invisible coating, and that covers the pores in the eggshell. So it keeps the air and bacteria from getting in. So you wash that egg, you remove the egg's natural ability to keep out air and bacteria. So now you have to refrigerate it. Like it's so counterintuitive. Just leave the egg alone.
Interesting.
That's fascinating.
That's very fascinating.
Fucking science.
Yeah. Science. And that's called the bloom. And it does disintegrate as the egg ages because it needs to let air in eventually. Because if a chick is growing inside the egg, it's going to need air, as it starts to develop. But when, that takes weeks and weeks, whatever. So yeah, they got this beautiful natural coating, and then the government says, you need to wash your eggs, and then they all have to be put in the refrigerator.
Washing a shell seems a little
dumb.
bit counterintuitive. Why would you wash a shell?
I don't get that either.
That's the same thing that, I heard that you, off topic, but like organic bananas doesn't really matter because it's a hard shell on the outside. So it doesn't need to be organic because it automatically is going to be.
Yeah. There are certain things that are like
right,
organic.
and you're like eating the peel.
Yeah,
It doesn't like berries, yes. it's really important if you're worried about pesticides and stuff, like to get organic berries because
Makes sense.
you spray a berry bush, whatever. But like
Right.
coconuts, bananas, like avocados, it doesn't really matter.
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to I know you had mentioned you've answered all these questions a lot, so I apologize because I'm probably asking the similar questions. But I guess it's the feed is my next question, because what justifies organic versus non-organic? Because it's based on what the chicken is eating, correct?
Right. So to sell organic eggs, whether you're a commercial or, just a person selling at a farmer's market, the chickens have to be fed organic feed, which means that all the grains and seeds and that were, grown organically and, whatever. I mean, personally, I guess, sure, I try to eat organic food when I can, like if I have a choice, but there's so much to worry about in this world. It's just like, it's like the air you breathe, you
Right.
can't get away from it.
Do you think it's one of those things that was just like a craze for a little while? So people like jumped in the train and it was kind of just the thing to do because it sounded good?
I do. And and I feel badly because the organic certification is expensive. And it's a process to go through. So small farmers are at a disadvantage because they're not going to pay for it, but again, it's expensive to spray your crops with chemicals. So farmers aren't just spraying randomly just to spray. If they don't have to, they're not going to. So like I said, I'd much rather buy from my neighbor or a farmer's market or a small local farmer that probably is selling organic eggs. They just either don't know it or can't say it because they don't have the certification.
Gotcha. Now, when it comes to owning chickens and being able to, I guess, raise your own eggs, this is two questions, because I had a friend, you guys, my Taylor had some chickens and the town came and shut them down right away and said, you can't have chickens in your yard, in Rhode Island. So are you familiar with like the laws and statutes and how it operates as to like what you legally have to do in order to own your own chickens, or is it literally town by town?
It is literally town by town. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, like a place you would think would allow them because it's very rural, they don't. And then somewhere like Brooklyn, you can have chickens in Brooklyn, who would think? So it just really depends on the government, And I find a lot of times, I read a lot of these news stories and stuff. And what happens is someone on the town council either like grew up with chickens and now hates them, or like, grew up across the street from a chicken farm, or like they have some previous bad experience and now they want no one to have chickens is what I found.
That's ridiculous.
As the old adage said, it only takes one.
Now, the other question I had, which is a different question, entirely. How do you know, like, are all eggs technically capable of becoming chickens? Or are they separate between like a chicken laying like an egg that we consume and laying like giving birth?
So there has to be a rooster. So if there's no rooster in the hen,
this is a learning curve for me. No laughing, RJ.
Vin, take this one out.
No,
he doesn't need his fans to know this one.
It's not. It's a really good question because a lot of people, they don't understand the difference. So a hen will lay eggs regardless.
Okay.
So if there's a rooster in with them, he fertilizes the eggs, and then when she lays the egg, it could turn into a chick if she sits on it for a month.
Okay.
But like we had a rooster for a long time and we ate the eggs. Like as long as you're not letting them sit around in your coop for a month, and they're just like eggs that, you buy at the store. But like the commercial farms don't keep a rooster. So no, none of those eggs, like you always see like, oh, my Trader Joe's carton of eggs hatched into baby chicks. Well, I don't really think so because there's probably not a rooster in with those chickens,
Right.
And even if there is a rooster in there, it takes a long time for it to even start to develop. But I mean, I've had people, email me a picture of their chicken and say, my chicken looks like she's pregnant. What do I do? I was like, well, that's not really how that works. Birds don't get pregnant.
The birds and the bees conversation
She's
does
probably
not
just
count for
That was my email. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yep. Your
This is
chicken
wonderful.
just fat.
This is all
She does
really,
not pregnant.
I feel like I'm selfishly asking these questions for myself, but hopefully my listeners are also curious and enjoying as well. Now, I'd like to kind of get into how this turned into like a culinary exploration for you and where the writing came into play. Like, was there a passion for writing? I mean, it seems like you kind of migrated your way into the, culinary world, But the writing stuff, that seems like that's a pretty intricate thing to have to take on, especially publishing and getting an agent and all that. So where did that passion come from?
Yeah. I mean, I took creative writing in college because accounting was really boring and I needed an elective.
There we go. Simple answer.
I mean, so there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, my first book, to be fair, was basically my blog in book form because I really did enjoy writing my blog at first. So that was that book. But then I liked writing, and I think it's become more and more over the years too, as social media just becomes such a garbage dump. It's really important to me to create things that are like evergreen and lasting and, facts checked and accurate and, that are going to be on the shelf for more than, 24 hours, like a reel or a story or something like that. Like, it's really exhausting to create content that just goes away. And I just really like the slow learning, long form kind of creative process, I guess.
That's great.
I love that.
And did you pull like inspiration from other individuals who are in the same light as you with the cooking stuff and the writing and the blogging? Or is this just like purely, because I mean, for me, like sketch comedy, like I look at people who are actors and comedians, and that's where I pull inspiration from. So I'm curious if that's how it works, because it sounds like you've got quite the creative bone in you. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first started, there really weren't any books about raising like backyard chickens. It was a lot of like meat birds or, larger scale operations. And when I started blogging too, there really weren't that many other bloggers around. And because I had the experience, people who, started with chickens and then started their blog, they'd had chickens for like a year, and I was like, well, I had them as a kid for, ever. Right. And like, and even now when I, go to write a blog post and I Google whatever, like all my content comes up. So it's like myself.
Heck yeah.
It's not a bad problem to have.
But my grandmother, my grandmother who had chickens and like kind of was my inspiration, I guess. She lived to be 99. So she was still alive when we got our chickens. And I loved going to visit her and asking her questions about, how she raised them and things she did and the breeds she had. And like, she loved talking about it. So, I learned a lot from her. And now it's just saturated because like everybody has chickens. Everybody has social media, blog or this or that, whatever. So, so that's that. The cooking, I mean, I watched Food Network since like beginning of time. My mom used to get all the magazines. We'd cut out recipes, put them on recipe cards. I even took some cooking classes way back when. So I think it was always there in the background. But I definitely have gotten to be a better cook and baker creating the recipes for the book. And the first book was a lot of family recipes. It was things that I've made for years. So it wasn't like a lot of heavy duty creating. The second book was because after 100 recipes, she'll like, I got nothing else in my, on my recipe box. So
that's good.
I got to start making stuff up now. But yeah, I follow a ton of like food creators and I mean, cookbooks. I have tons of inspiration. I love reading cookbooks and
That's phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah.
Now I heard you say something in there about there being breeds. So I have to go back to this. There are different breeds of chickens. This is news to me. Lisa, you got, how many breeds are there and what are they called?
Oh, there's like 100. So.
Oh my God. Okay.
Alphabetical order. I'll go. No. So, I mean, that is not a silly question because growing up, my grandparents had like brown eggs. We always had brown eggs. And I never really knew that chickens laid any other color than brown until like I would go to like a sleepover at my friend's house. And she would, the mom would be making breakfast with white eggs. And I'm like, whoa, like white eggs? Are you kidding me? You guys grew up in New England. You've heard that jingle. Brown eggs are local eggs and local eggs are fresh.
Yes.
Remember that from when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to promote the brown eggs because people thought that they were like fresher because they came, like they just look more natural. And the white eggs are like, ooh, they're made in a factory. You know what I mean? So that whole push like got brown eggs into supermarkets more because at first it was like, peasants that ate the brown eggs and the white eggs like were for the elitists. But so there's like 100 different breeds of chickens. They lay different colors depending on their breed. I, even growing up near chickens and then raising them and everything, did not even realize chickens laid blue eggs until I saw Martha Stewart, one of her shows.
Blue eggs?
She had her blue eggs that her chickens lay. I wish I had one to show you, but yeah. So there's like 3 or 4 breeds that lay blue eggs, and I was obsessed after I saw Martha because I kind of like low-key want to be Martha.
That's insane.
Without the jail time.
Yeah.
But
Hey, she made a great comeback. She did a good job.
She did. She's great.
still cool.
She's killing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely
But wow,
she is.
blue
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah, she's
That is so
crazy.
fascinating.
And as soon as I saw that on TV, I was like, I need
That's
chickens that
crazy.
lay blue eggs, so I ordered them from a hatchery and now we have chickens that lay blue eggs.
That's so cool.
How does that? Why blue
Yeah.
eggs though? I don't get that. How does that happen? What is that? What is that process?
So
This has become my personal
Every-
one-on-one egg lesson, by the way, Lisa. Thank you so
your
much for
personal
this.
Roman Empire. Yeah. So every egg starts out white. Like chickens need calcium, right? Because eggshells are calcium. So you have to give them like oyster shell or crust eggshells, whatever. So when they lay the egg, every egg starts out white and then breeds, like the hens have pigment. So like if it's a brown egg layer, she applies brown pigment to the white shell and now you have a brown egg. White egg layers, no pigment. So it's, white. Blue egg layers have one brown. No, never mind. Take that back. Some have blue pigment, so they are blue. Green egg layers have one brown, egg parent and one blue egg parent. So you mix them together, you get a green egg. So like breeders have, played around with the different pigment colors to get the different, but it's literally like when the egg first comes out, it's kind of wet. Like you can rub the color off.
Wow.
Oh, that's
I wonder
insane.
if that's where Dr. Seuss got green eggs and ham from.
That's probably where it came from. Yeah. That makes the most sense to me.
Now that
Probably.
I think about it, I'm like, I don't know where the green in the eggs part actually comes from.
So the end all be all question
Yeah.
is the one everyone's dying to know. I need to know. You're going to be fascinated when you find out.
Yes.
Vin's been salivating back there worse than me. How do you like your eggs?
Egg Benedict.
Oh, let's go.
Yes.
That's a great egg.
I
It's a
thought you were
great
going to say,
show.
what's the best
Yeah.
egg?
We all know the best egg.
Brown?
Lisa's eggs.
Well,
Brown.
yeah, obviously, but brown.
Fresh eggs daily, dog. Duh.
Yeah, the color doesn't matter. They're,
It doesn't change much.
they're all the same inside.
Can I ask
Yeah,
you another?
just like people, they're all the same inside. Yeah. What?
I'm just so curious because I know you're going to give me the realest answer. Like 6
Mm-hmm.
months ago, why were eggs $9? Why did that happen?
Yeah, and why did Maine or whatever that egg company is have like a 500% increase in their profits for the year?
Yeah.
Ah,
It was,
something
I
like
mean,
that.
Okay, so avian flu does go through the hen houses, or sometimes there's like a fire and it kills, all the chickens or whatever. But they played on that and they just took advantage and the prices
Yeah.
went up and they made huge profits. But I do have to say, in their defense, the price of eggs had not gone up from like around $1 a dozen since the 1980s.
Mm,
Like eggs were due for a bit of an increase. I mean,
yeah.
they never should have been $1 a dozen. Like, think how many meals you get out of a dozen eggs. Like
Oh,
$1.
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
So they were due for an increase. They're also used as loss leaders. So like Costco and Walmart and that will sell the flats really cheap just to get people in the door. So the prices should have gone up. And plus you have all these fancy ones, like you said, the omega-3s and the organics, and like those are more expensive. But
Yeah.
it was all just, you
Yeah.
can leave it in. I don't care.
I
The
get
egg
my
producers
eggs from-
don't like me anyway. But
I get the Vitality Farm pasture raised ones. And because it's pasture raised, but they come in a box of like 4, and it's like the 4 pallet one. And it's like, just the bang for your buck. Cause it's like their dozen is like $11.50 a thing, but their like 2 dozen is like $14. I'm like, okay, this is the best bang for the buck. The math doesn't make sense, but it works for me. And also, $14 for eggs is crazy. But like I said, I eat so many of them that I'm just like, okay, this is probably the one food I eat the most of every day. So this is where I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to pick my poison. I want this to be the healthiest part of my day, because when I eat the carton of ice cream later that has eggs in it, I know that that's going to be the blue or the green eggs. And we just, we know how those eggs are.
that's right. That's right.
Oh, this is like, what a lesson learned right now. This is
great.
Educational. So thank you so much, because I know you
I
said
love
that you were
that.
kind of exhausted by all of it. Can you tell us a little bit about your new book that you've got coming out? I would love if you could.
Yeah. So I wanted to write another egg cookbook, and my agent was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. You got to branch out a little bit. So I thought it was a great idea. But yeah, so it's called In Season. It's actually available for pre-order. I'm not technically supposed to be like pushing it yet, because it's not out till next May, but it's available for pre-order like on Amazon and, Barnes and Noble, whatever. So it's called In Season, and it's basically seasonal recipes. There are still a lot of egg recipes because I slid those in there. But it's very New England. It's like root vegetables and, like fish and very blueberries, like maple syrup. So it's got a lot of New England flavor in it. And it's basically, eating fresh, eating healthy, with like real ingredients by the seasons. So that's it.
so cool.
Phenomenal. Let me put you on the spot then. What is your favorite or top 5 egg dishes or meals? Or I guess egg base, because I know that's going to have some variety to it.
Yeah, so definitely Eggs Benedict. Like when COVID came, and I was like,
Every day.
whatever.
It.
This is going to be my last meal. This going to be Eggs Benedict. But I love a good creme brulee. Like nothing beats a really, really good creme brulee. So basic, so great. My first cookbook had a lot of that. It had like Boston cream pie, angel food cake, pound cake, like a lot of the desserts that really are egg forward, lemon meringue pie, things like that. So I like eggs and desserts. But as far as like savory, I really like just a good French omelet. Look, it doesn't even really have to have anything in it, or maybe just a little bit of cheese, but like just a really well-made omelet, just simple, like trifolds, it's, I feel like it's a challenge. When the omelet comes out really good and doesn't turn into scrambled eggs because you screwed it up, like it's a good way to start the day.
I am probably the worst omelet maker there is, but one of my favorite omelets is a corned beef hash omelet. I genuinely love eggs, but a good corned beef hash omelet is like, that's one of the best.
Nice.
Now, here's a little history question for you. I'm curious if you know, like, when did eggs become a part of like the diet? Do you know like when it was like kind of discovered that eggs were edible?
Like way back to like Egyptian cave drawing, or did Egyptians do cave drawings? Anyway, some cave drawings, they had pictures of people holding like baskets with eggs in them. So they figure what happened was they saw other animals stealing eggs out of like jungle fowl or the wild bird nests.
Okay, that makes sense.
People were like, oh, maybe we can eat those, and then, there's a lot of turkeys lay on the ground, quail, partridge, like a lot of those birds do lay eggs on the ground, right? So they started, eating them after seeing the animals eat them.
Interesting.
So like way
That
way
makes
back.
sense though.
That's a pretty, now, how about other birds that lay like edible eggs? Are there others that you dabble in, or that you enjoy, or that you would recommend, or?
We have ducks and geese, so we eat their eggs. I mean, their eggs. Like anytime I post something like that, people are like, "What do they taste like?" Well, they taste like eggs. They have a yolk, they have a white. They're eggs. They're just a
Really?
different
Okay, so
size,
there's no difference.
I mean, not really. The geese and duck eggs are a little bit richer, like they have a higher fat content, but basically the same. Turkey eggs I've never had, but I do have friends who raise turkeys, and you can eat turkey eggs. I've had quail eggs. I mean, same deal. They're just teeny. Ostrich eggs, emu eggs. I guess like whatever lays in it.
Those are the big ones, right? The
Like if you
ostrich
found
eggs?
a robin's egg, you could probably eat that. I don't know. I've never eaten like a wild bird egg,
That's
but you
so
probably could.
fascinating. I never thought of it like that.
Incredible.
Eggs are eggs, Doug.
All right. I think it's about time for our So New England segment. What do you think?
I don't know. Was I supposed to memorize this?
All right, Lisa, we're going to hit you with our first question. You have traveled quite a bit based off of the information that we have taken from you today. And I would like to know if you were going to add another city or state, country, if you will, another region of the earth to the New England region, what would it be?
It would definitely be New York, but just the restaurants.
Oh, so we're just
All the
bringing
New York
strictly up the New York
restaurants.
restaurants.
Just need to move up here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know what?
Yep.
Kudos to you for taking that answer and making it your own.
I love that for
is
you.
The first time we've got it that way, and I love it. That's a great answer. I'm about it.
Okay.
Well, I used to work there, and I love fine dining, and you just don't find that here in Bangor.
Yeah.
And I like that's the one thing I
Definitely
really
hits
miss is
different.
just really nice restaurants.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so we have 6 beautiful states here in New England. Would you mind ranking them in order? And I'm going to add a little tidbit. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Can you assign a particular egg dish to each state?
That's a good one.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't put that in the questionnaire.
the question.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I know.
Connecticut's
It can, listen, we make it a variety. It can be an egg dish, or you can assign a particular egg, whether it's like a white egg, brown egg, whatever it is to each state. We'll just give the green egg to Connecticcut right off the rip.
They're either
right off the rip. We'll give them the green egg.
Runny, not enough cheese.
Hard boiled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard boiled green
Connecticut
egg.
is a hard boiled egg. That's the best way to put it.
All right. So should I go 1 to 6 or so? I guess we're going 6 to that 1 then, right?
Yeah, we force all of our guests to say Connecticut's the worst. So there we go. So we'll start with number 6.
Last. Okay.
Hard boiled egg, Connecticut.
So above, hard boiled egg, Connecticut. Okay. So New Hampshire, it comes next. Basically, New Hampshire is Maine without the lobster. Like, I feel like it doesn't really have its own identity. So maybe New Hampshire can just have like dry scrambled eggs.
Dry scrambled. Oof. No one likes dry scrambled eggs.
Absolutely.
Left out on the counter too long.
Cold. Ooh.
Cold eggs.
Aries loves those.
Okay. All right. So Vermont is basically Maine and New Hampshire without the coast or lobster. Got it. I feel like Vermont. For sure, Vermont is like Maine with money. It's like what Maine would be if it just had more money.
Yeah.
You know, like Vermont is beautiful. It's like a Hallmark show. Yeah, so I feel like Vermont would be like a really like upscale diner, like maybe the hash, like maybe a red flannel hash with an egg on top.
Oh, love it. I'm hungry. Okay.
That
love
would be
it.
good.
Next up.
That would be good.
Number 3.
All right, so Rhode Island. Number 3 is Rhode Island. I went to school there. So great. So, I mean, that would have to be a fried egg because like you come home drunk and like that's all you can manage is like a fried egg and butter. Right?
In order to live here, you got to be fried. So Rhode Island is a fried egg. I love it. Okay. Number 2.
Okay. Number 2, it has to be Massachusetts because I grew up there. I wouldn't want to live there now. In the 70s, it was awesome. Like you rode your bike to the lake or the pool. Like your mother never knew where you were. Like we tromped around in the woods. Like I'm sure you did all the same things.
Yeah.
Like great place to live. So that would have to be something. Okay, so that would have to be angel food cake because that was like one of the first things my mom taught me how to cook. And I probably shouldn't say this. My mom doesn't listen, whatever. She would take one of my dad's beer bottles and like put the cake like upside down on it to like, cause you have to like do the cake upside down so it cools and doesn't fall. So she'd like do it on one of my dad's beer bottles. So it's like a happy childhood, probably like dysfunctional childhood memory.
That's great.
Great. So Maine, of course, is number 1 because like I live here. Martha Stewart lives here. We have lobster and the coast. And I would definitely have to say like, lobster, no eggs, just lobster.
No eggs, just lobster.
Damn.
I thought you were going to say lobster's
No, it's
Benedict
just lobster.
because you're a lobster, because you're a Benedict.
Eggs.
We could do that. You know, but I've done that. I don't love it. I feel like same with lobster mac and cheese. I've had it.
Ooh.
I love them both, but not together. I just
that's
feel
fair.
like they don't.
Let me tell you,
they're
I
better
love lobster
separate.
mac and cheese is probably one of my favorite dishes ever. And I've only had it one time. And I have been trying to chase that high ever since. Like I had it one time where it was just like mouth watering. It was perfect. Like perfect amount of cheese, perfect amount of lobster, great combo. I ate the whole dish. Like it was perfect. And now I've probably had it another dozen times in the last 10 years and I haven't been able to recreate that. And it just makes me sad. And you know, I do agree. Lobster Benedict is a tough sell. I love eggs. I love lobster, but together I was like, I don't love this dish. I don't love the dish.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Everything does not need to be put together. I'll have both together, like different plates, but same meal. I can do that.
Awesome.
Great answer. Great answer.
If you could, I'm trying to word this so it's not confusing. If you could assign a chicken to each state, what would that be? It's not on that one. I'm trying to come up with these chicken related questions and I'm basing it off the fact that chickens have attitudes and, you know, roosters are a little bit different. So like, what would be the chicken of each state?
All right. Well, there is New Hampshire red. So New Hampshire gets New Hampshire red. I don't know. Like there's a Buckeye, but that's like whatever the Buckeye state is. That's not us.
Ohio,
There's in
yeah.
Delaware, but that's not New England. All right. So New Hampshire red. I guess Vermont would have to have like no, Connecticut would have to have like the fancy, like, I don't want to get wet, like poof on the head. So that would be like the Polish, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe the Rhode Island should be the Polish. Maybe New York. Connecticut can be the silky because they're like super high maintenance, like not supposed to get wet or whatever. Okay. And then Rhode Island can be the Polish. There's a lot of Polish people in Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
Mostly
Sure.
Italian, but I'm sure there's some Polish around.
There's a Polish festival. Didn't
I
you go to a
don't-
Polish
I don't
festival?
thi-
Greek
I don't
festival.
think there's any Italian.
same.
Oh, Greek. I don't think there's any Greek or Italian chicken breeds, though.
Yeah.
Um,
Too much pasta in Italian
Well,
culture.
so
They don't do chicken.
Massachusetts, Boston. Massachusetts, I guess, would have to be like the Australorp because that's what my grandparents raised. It's like a black chicken. We have those. They're great. They're from Australia, but whatever. And then
Hey, Australian
Maine.
accent, Massachusetts accent. It's all kind of the same, right?
Nobody gets it.
It's all kind of the same, yeah. And Maine would have to probably be like the Swedish flower hen, just because Sweden is like Maine. It's like cold and there's snow and whatever. And we do have a town called Sweden here.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Fun fact.
There we go.
Don't get up to Maine enough.
Yeah,
I'd like
Norway
to.
also. And then what happened? The people came from those countries, and they were like, oh, cold snow. We feel at home here, so we're going to live here. And we're just going to name our town the name of our country we left.
Yeah.
Like,
the
I
way to do
guess that's how it happened.
Okay.
No thought involved.
Are you a sports fan at all?
My dad used to actually coach football and baseball at the high school he worked at, and he was a scout for the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
my brother loved the Cincinnati Reds. I did actually go to a few Red Sox games as a kid. I loved Butch Hobson, third base. I just thought he was the cutest. Not the best player, I guess, but he was cute.
Yeah, it's all that matters.
So
Well, I
that
only
kind
ask
of-
because we usually
yeah.
have our guests rank the New England sports teams in order. So I wasn't sure if you're an avid consumer of the sports world or not.
I came up with two. I came up with the Red Sox and the Patriots. So, woohoo.
All right,
That's
perfect.
all right. 1 and 2 works for them.
One and
That's
two
my
works
list.
for us. We'll let everyone else fall in line. How about you big into the movies and film industry? You watch a lot of movies and TV? Awesome. Okay. How about a
Yes.
New England based or influenced film? Do you have a favorite?
Yes, and it's so timely. Practical Magic, because they're making the sequel.
Yes.
Which I can't wait. Like your guys, you probably didn't love the movie, but I love that movie. When she's running, Sandra Bullock is running towards the guy and the Faith Hill song is playing. Like, it's just movie magic.
Wonderful.
Absolute cinema.
And it took place in Salem. So, yeah.
Love it. Now, how about if you could assign a particular food or dish in general, doesn't have to be egg-based, but since you're in the cooking world, what would be the best food to describe New England? Like this one dish encompasses all of New England, or this one food best represents New England. Some people say lobster, some people say chowder.
Lobster. It's definitely lobster. I mean, I get eggs, but the whole like warm with butter, cold with mayo thing just cracks me up whenever I see it. Because like, who cares? It's lobster. Like, give me one of each. you know?
I love it. Now you experience all the seasons pretty heavy up there in Maine. So I got to ask you, what's your favorite seasons?
Winter.
Really? Wow. And you got it the worst up there.
Yeah. Ugh.
You just don't like being hot?
Well, I don't like being hot. I handle hot at all. My brain just melts. I mean, but it's different because I work from home, right? Basically. So we light a fire in the wood stove. You've got like a nice cup of like, coffee or tea or like a alcoholic beverage. And you're sitting there, doing your thing. I love to knit. I mean, if winter lasted year round, I would be so happy.
That's fair.
I
That
love
makes
winter.
sense. I do think about it. Again, I'm not much of a cook, but if I was someone that was going to spend time in the kitchen, I want it to be comfy and cozy.
Oh, you bake.
And it's like, it's cold
it's like big
outside. You open up the
grilled
windows,
and,
get some cold breeze in to cool off if it gets too hot in the kitchen. But it's like the fresh smell of bread. Okay, I'm buying into this. I will never say winter, but I'm buying into what you're selling.
Yeah, it's and there's no pressure to like go out and mow the lawn or weed the garden or like if you didn't have the chickens, it would be perfect because I still have to go out and like feed them, which really stinks when it's cold out. But other than that, yeah, if I can just sit in front of the fire and like read a book or like stream Netflix or like just curl up and never go anywhere, it's just perfect.
I love that.
That's the life.
Do you think there's something that is overrated and underrated in New England? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, lighthouses, I feel like whatever. I mean,
Overrated.
I couldn't get excited to go see a lighthouse. Yeah. I mean, a lighthouse is a lighthouse, whatever. They're different colors sometimes.
But
I don't know.
I
Whatever.
think that
I guess
it's so
they had
funny.
their purpose.
Yeah. It's like the things that people are so attracted to from other states. They're like, Maine looks like it's just like the most beautiful place on earth. Look at these lighthouses. And I'm like, no one from Maine is hanging out by the lighthouse. I mean, I don't spend time in Maine, but no one's like, you don't hang out by a lighthouse. You see it and you go, it's like, it's something worth seeing if you're on the boat skimming by, hopefully not too close. That's why it's there.
Well,
or if you're driving by.
Right. If you're like driving a boat, then the lighthouse is really important. I don't even think there's people in them anymore though. So yeah, that lighthouse is
Overrated.
no, definitely overrated. Yeah. And underrated is absolutely our sense of humor. Like so many people don't get, and I get in trouble with it on social media because a lot of people don't get New England sarcasm. And then I'll say something and I'll be like, yeah, that was sarcasm.
Yeah.
If you didn't catch that.
Yeah. I think you
People just
opened
don't.
up this episode with like the best New England sarcasm that was like enough for me where I was like, I'm always trying to search for that so New England moment. And you were like, look, no offense. The South sucks. You said no offense. And to me, I'm like, look, she doesn't mean it in a bad way. She's just letting you know it sucks down there.
Yeah. And if I heard one more, bless her heart, like in New England, if someone does not like you, you know it. And that's fine. If you don't like me, don't talk to me. That's fine. You know, in the South, they pretend they like you and you don't know until like someone else tells you that they're like stabbing you in the back. Like just be real. But on the flip side, even if your neighbor hates you because your rooster crows or because your dog barks or because you never pick up your trash or whatever, like if your like tractor went off the side of the road or your HEV flipped over, like he would be the first person there to help you get it out.
Yep.
Right.
Like
Love
that's
that.
just the way people are,
Yeah.
you know?
Someone else made a good point of that on one of the pods. I don't remember who it was, but they said the same thing. Like, you know, when it comes to like those situations, they'll be the one to pull up on the side of the road and be like, the hell'd you do? I'm coming to help you. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But the Southern people will be like driving by.
Exactly. Now, for
I know, but yeah.
the individuals who don't have, which is also includes myself, I'm throwing myself under the bus. This is the So New England podcast, but I openly admit I am not well versed in all of the New England states. So Maine being probably my least explored state, what would be like one good sentence to sum up the state? Or to describe it? It could be a single word even.
Well, one sentence would be like, please don't come because we just like it the way it is.
That's the perfect segment.
That's wonderful. You could leave it right there if you'd
That's
like.
good. Please don't come.
Please don't come. That is all we needed.
Well, that's the thing. You know, we have this joke that like we make out that winters are worse than they are because we don't want more people, you know, living here. You know, so I'll like find the biggest snowbank I can find in the winter and like stand in it and then take a picture with like snow up to my thighs, you know, and be like, oh, we got more snow.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's just a pile of snow inside the Market Basket parking lot that just got, you know, I love it.
Right, exactly.
It's a very good tactic. Lisa, this has been so wonderful. Tell everyone where they can find you online so that they can check everything out and where they should be looking for the first book of yours and the drop for the second.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Fresh Eggs Daily, pretty much like on every platform, my blog, whatever, make it easy. And then my first book was the Fresh Eggs Daily Cookbook, which hated the title personally, but whatever, they liked it. And I guess it's on brand, so it makes sense. And then the second book is In Season, which I'm super excited about. It is available for pre-order, but it's not coming out till next May. So you got to wait a long time for that one. But anyway.
Awesome. Great. Well, Lisa, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
all
much.
of this wonderful knowledge and insight. Thank you so much for sharing your story with all of us. We really appreciate the sarcasm, the humor, and all of the educational stuff that you gave us today.
Thank you so much.
Oh, so fun. Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
So I wanted to be on brands and like Dunkin', right?
Love it.
So we were going by Dunkin' Donuts, but I didn't really want a coffee because it was afternoon. So I went in and I said, can I have like an empty cup because I'm doing a podcast with Ian Brownhill? And the woman was like, sure.
It's a love-hate
she
thing,
gave me an
If
empty cup.
people know, they know. If they don't, no worries. But that's okay. Only thing I need you to do is just send me the address of whatever one that one is, and I'm going to personally come and visit her now because I won't be able to sleep that she doesn't follow
Right?
me. No biggie.
That would be funny. I expected she would be like, oh my God, yes, like have a coffee
The
in it
Dunkin'
too. But
guy.
she didn't even give me a lid. She just gave me like the cup.
Not a great
Well,
representation of my
thanks.
donkeys, but that's
Oh my
okay.
God.
I appreciate that you went
It's
the extra
not.
effort
We
to
love
put
them.
Duncan on the pod with us today because everyone
Of
here
course,
at
we
the
love
So
them.
New England podcast runs on Duncan.
We love Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes,
here.
we do. Duncan.
Yes.
Get it right. There you go.
No, I
Duncan.
love their donuts too.
Oh, this is
I
true.
actually do love their donuts.
Awesome, Lisa. Thank you so much again. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude episode 55 of the So New England podcast. Please remember, folks, life's better in New England.
Locks cracking.